Welcome to the deep dive. We've got a really fascinating stack of sources here today. It all centers on the short but pretty powerful story from ancient Buddhist texts.
That's right. We're looking at the Dhammapada Hakata. That's the commentary on the Dhammapada, specifically the part discussing verse 259.
And the story itself is called the story of the 500 monks.
Exactly.
So our mission, really, for this deep dive is to unpack this story. We want to get at the teaching inside it and, importantly, see what it might offer you, the listener, about letting go, even today.
Yeah, it's about stepping back into this moment, recorded in the texts. It's set at Jetavana, and it's this interesting intersection of, nature, monastic practice, and some deep wisdom.
Okay, so let's paint the picture. The Buddha, he's residing at Jetavana Monastery. That's the setting.
And the focus is on a specific group, 500 monks. It's quite a number.
And they weren't just hanging around. The sources are clear. They'd received meditation subjects directly from the Buddha.
Right. They had their instructions, their focus for practice.
And with that, they headed out into the forest.
Yeah, the text says their purpose was specific. Samakama, practicing the monastic discipline, really digging into their spiritual work.
Okay, so they're out there in the forest, meditating, and then something happens. They notice something.
They do. While they're practicing, they start observing Vasika flowers.
Just watching flowers.
Yeah. They see them blooming in the morning, vibrant, full of life.
Right.
But then, as the day goes on, towards the evening, they see those exact same flowers. Well, they start to wither, and then they just fall off the stem.
So a whole cycle in a day, blooming and then falling.
Right. A very natural process. But seeing it sparked this huge realization in them.
What was the connection they made?
They looked at those falling flowers and thought something like, wow, if these flowers get freed from their stems so easily, surely we can get free from our own stuff. Defilements like passion, aversion, maybe even sooner.
That's quite a leap, from a flower falling to liberation from internal struggles.
It really is. Yeah. But it became this powerful motivation for them. The text says they were striving with this specific hope, pushing their practice harder because of what they saw.
And somehow the Buddha knew this was happening, even though he wasn't there.
Apparently so. The sources say, back in his perfumed hut, the Gantakui, he perceived them. He saw their state of mind, this inspired effort.
And he responded.
Yes. It's described as him radiating light towards them, like a connection being made.
Wow.
And then he shared this core message. He addressed them directly. Bhikkhav, O monks.
What did he say?
He basically reinforced their insight. He said, just like that flower is freed from its stem, a monk should strive. Strive to be freed from the suffering of this whole cycle of existence from Buddha Dukkhato.
So he took their nature observation and turned it into this direct teaching on liberation.
Precisely. Which leads right into the specific verse he uttered then.
Okay, what's the verse?
It goes, Vasika viapofani majavani famunkati ebaraganyeka dosanyoka vipa Pañcasatabhikkhuvatthu.
And the commentary helps us understand the terms.
It does, yeah. It clarifies a couple of key words. Vasika is identified as sumana, which means jasmine.
Okay, so jasmine flowers. That makes sense. And the other word, majavani.
Right, majavani. The commentary explains this means milatani.
Which translates to?
Withered. Specifically, the old withered flowers. Not just any flower, but the ones that are past their prime.
Got it. So the simile is quite specific then.
Exactly. The commentary lays it out. Just like the jasmine plant, lets go of those flowers, the ones that bloomed maybe yesterday that are now old, withered, lets them just detach and fall.
In the same way, the monks should really exert themselves, let go completely. That's the vipramunyatha part, right?
Right. Let go of their defilements, their dose. And it specifically calls out passion, raganyaka, and aversion, dosanya.
So letting go of these mental states should feel as natural, eventually, as a dead flower falling.
That seems to be the image, yeah. That sense of natural release when something is truly spent, truly ready to be let go of.
Okay, so that's the teaching, the analogy. What was the immediate effect on the monks? What happened right after they heard this?
This is the really striking part. The source just states it plainly. At the end of that discourse, all 500 monks attained arahantship.
Wow, all of them, instantly.
That's how it's recorded. Complete liberation, right there, right then.
Just from hearing that verse, inspired by the flowers they've been watching, that's incredible. The power of a simple, clear analogy hitting home at the right moment.
It really underscores how sometimes insight can lead to rapid, profound transformation,
Hmm.
especially when the groundwork of practice has been laid.
Okay, that's the story, the historical account. But let's bring it forward. What does this ancient scene offer us now? What's the takeaway for you listening today?
Well, for me, one thing that really stands out is just the simplicity of it. Finding this profound lesson in something so ordinary, a flower wilting.
Yeah, it makes you think, doesn't it? What everyday things are we missing? What insights are just waiting in the world around us if we, just paid attention?
Exactly. And then there's the core idea, letting go.
Right. The story uses the flower detaching to talk about passion and aversion, but that metaphor, it feels much bigger.
Oh, absolutely. It's such a vivid image for letting go of anything that's kind of withered in our lives, isn't it? Things that don't serve us anymore.
Like old habits, maybe, or grudges we're holding on to.
Or just unhelpful ways of thinking, attachments that cause pain.
Yeah.
The flower freeing itself gives us this visual anchor.
It suggests it can be a natural process, too. Not necessarily easy, but natural when something's ready to fall away.
Mm-hmm. And then there's that outcome, 500 arahats, instantly.
What does that say to us about our own potential?
Well, maybe it suggests we shouldn't underestimate the power of clear insight. That profound change, even liberation, can be sparked by simple truths if we see them clearly and act on them.
Setting ambitious goals for our own growth, inspired by the world.
Perhaps. Grounding our inner work in what we can see and touch. Nature reflects our inner cycle sometimes, It teaches us about letting go.
So this deep dive, looking at the 500 monks and the Vastika flower, it really shows how profound wisdom can come through simple, relatable images straight from nature.
Yeah, the core message is still so potent, that call to let go. Like the flower freeing itself, it's clear, it's beautiful, really.
So maybe here's a thought to take with you from our discussion today.
Right.
What are the withered flowers you might be holding on to, maybe without even realizing it? And just imagine, what would it actually feel like to let them fall away?